story of a kid in my class. He came to me one day and he's like, ma'am, there is a kid in my class, in my school, and whenever we give oral test, I am always better than him. I have more knowledge than him. I can literally see he doesn't know the answers that much. But when we get the answer sheet after the exam, he is always scoring 4-5 marks more than me. I don't understand why. I just don't understand why. Then I asked him, then I told him a very important point that we figured out he actually had more knowledge than all of his class, but a very important thing he was missing: paper presentation. In science, presentation is very, very important, my kids. So let's decipher today what exactly you need to take care of to make your science paper presentable. There can be, you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you cannot present it to the teacher, what's the point, right? How will you get good marks if the teacher who is checking your notebook is not able to read it correctly? So today we are going to look into the tips, the hacks that you need to follow to get good marks in your science exam. Okay, so let's see. The very first thing that you have to take care in mind is your following the proper sequence. We know this time the paper will have 3 sections, right? It will have 3 sections and you need to follow them. Section A, then B, and then C, right? You need to follow the proper sequence, because following this proper sequence is so important. Why? You have to complete all the question here of bio, right? Then you have to complete your whole chemistry in section B. If you don't know any answer, just leave a place, just leave a designated place. If it's a 3-4 markers, just leave less than half of a page and move on to the next question. Do not do, because what happens when the teacher is checking, what you have to do, you have to make answer checking very easy for your teacher. That's your only goal when you are writing your answers. Okay, now to make the answer sheet, to make it easy to check, you have to follow a proper sequence. For the very first time, you leave a space that you don't know the answer right now. After you remember some points, go back to it, write it there. Okay, first follow proper sequence. If you write first answer there, then you insert the 5th question, how will teacher check it properly, right? So that should not be done. Follow proper sequence. After that, let's move on to the question paper one by one. First, you have to do section A. You are following all the MCQs. First, and you wrote the answer as C. Second, you wrote the answer as D. And there is a proper designated space for rough work, right? A designated space for rough work is very much needed. See how clean the paper looks. Till here you have questions and in here you have rough work. So first, clear, concise answers for MCQs. Okay, for MCQs, clear, concise answers. For rough work, a designated space. Done. Second, we have proper spacing. When you move on to 2 or 3 or 4 markers, this is how you have to answer. See, he started it with a question number, then A part, then moved on to the second part. Then move on to the second part. Okay, now see clearly he has left a single line between these 2 questions, correct? This is the 23rd question. Moving on to 24th, the kid has clearly left space so that teacher can clearly differentiate that, right? Here 23rd part ends, 23rd starts, and then the first part of 24th and the second part of 24th. Right? So for 3-4 markers, you need to give proper spacing and you need to write in points as well. Done? You need to write points as well. And one very important thing for 3 to 4 markers is add examples. As you write for 3 to 4 markers, you have written 3 points, right? At the end, add the example, right? Now, one more very important hack is, if you don't know the question, if you don't know the answer to something, just then that write in paragraph. Write in paragraph of the questions of the answers that you don't know the answer of, so that you add some stories, add some little extra information from here and there and add it in the paragraph, because in pointers you need exact information. Let us talk about pointers, which is very important. For long answer hack, the very first thing you have to keep in mind is pointers. Pointers for long answers are very important. Now, how to do it? Not start writing pointers as soon as you read the answer. No. As you soon you read the question, first you are going to give the introduction. What are you going to do? Means they have asked you about something about solenoid and a bar magnet. So, you have to first write, okay, the difference between solenoid and bar magnet is as follows. That is your introduction. Then you move on to the pointers. As let's say we are talking about a differentiation question, okay, this is solenoid, this is bar magnet. Make the points 1 and 2 and 3. Now write minimum of 5 points for long answers. Minimum 5 points. Right? Now how do you have to write these points? Don't start writing the points. Okay, because when you start, you wrote the first point and you are like, no, this is not the important one, this can come on to the third, or I didn't frame this right. So you'll cut that marks, you'll cut that, there will be lots of hodgepodge. No, open the last page of your sheet, open the last page of your sheet and first write above there that it's a rough work. Right? It's a rough work, then teacher won't check that. But if you don't write rough work, they'll go through it and they'll have to understand and okay, this is rough work. Very tough. Not easy for the teacher. So clearly write above the answer sheet that it is a rough work. Then inside that write, okay, first point is about the field. Just write 1 point. Okay. And second point is about, okay, the direction of current and whatever these points are. Then go back and now evaluate on the proper field point. Okay, then evaluate on the second direction point. That's how you write long answers. And at the end, you have to write outro and add examples as well. Bar magnet is made up of steel, electromagnet or solenoid or electromagnet is made up of soft iron core. So you have to add those examples as well. That's what long answers demand. Done. Next we have diagrams. Now we all know in science how important diagrams are, right? Now for diagrams, first you have to mention above it that it's a diagram for what? Even you are continuing from that answer, but write it down, that diagram for solenoid. Or if just simply, even if you write that this is solenoid, this is solenoid. Now while making the diagram, you have to be very concise, very clear about it. If you are making the diagram for ray diagram, so ray diagram for a case this. Now object is in this, is at this point, image is at this point. Then use scale. Use scale and pencil. Very important points. While you are preparing for your examination, one day before, add your scale, your compass, your pencil, eraser, sharpener. Everything should be there with you, especially for the diagrams, my friend. Okay, diagrams are very important. Now even in 3-4 markers, if you know that there is a diagram and you are sure about it, make the diagram. Okay, teacher will see, oh, he or she knows the concept, he is well informed, that's why you have made the diagram. So teacher will be happy to see that diagram. But make sure you know the clear diagram. In the question they've asked the diagram, that you have to make. But in the question they didn't ask the diagram. Provided you have time and you know exactly what the diagram is, make the diagram. Okay, but don't try to oversimplify, overcomplicate the diagram and make it beautified and everything, because time is also very important. Okay, now next thing is, let's see a copy. Let's see a example of what we have seen. Now underline keywords. Underlining keywords is very important, because that's how we know, that's how teachers will know that okay, this person, this student knows what he's doing. You know that in this whole situation we are telling about baking powder, and it is prepared by using baking soda, okay, and with sodium hydrogen carbonate along with this acid and tartaric acid, right, along with a mild acid and tartaric acid. So you know that you have mixed two of these acids with baking soda, that is making my what, baking powder. Done. So teacher can clearly see that this person knows the exact things that needs to be added to make that particular amount, right? So underline your keywords, very important, and cut clearly. See, if I have to cut this, don't do this. No, don't do this. Okay, cut properly. Don't do something like this. No, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. No, cut properly. Even if you have to, try not to, but even if you have to, cut clearly, just like this, or just a single line. Not just a single line, just something, 1 or 2 lines, so that you don't make a hodgepodge. Just cut like this. That is enough, right? Done. These are some of the tips for clear answer writing. These are very important. First, for MCQs, write just the answers and that option along with a designated space for rough space, right? Moving on to 2, 3, 4 marker questions, write them in proper small paragraphs or in small bullet points, and add the example and add a diagram if you have time and you know the diagram. Moving on to long answer questions. In long answer questions, write proper 4 to 5 points, explain each point, write the intro, write the outro. For diagrams, explain first what the diagram is about, then write the diagram, then clearly label the diagram. Do not mix words in each other. You are writing ray and in between that you are writing retina and ciliary muscles. That should not happen, okay? They should be clearly visible differently. Okay, then we are done with diagrams. Next is numericals. One most important thing about numericals that is left is about numericals. Why can't I write? So for numericals, for numericals, write first. How did we write? For numericals, we write first given, right? Then we write to find, and then we move to solution. Correct? Now in the solution, start with the formula, right? Start with the formula, then fill the values, then do the calculation. If you use this structure, you will properly get step marking. Even if you just write given, to find, solution and just write a formula, you will get 1.5 marks if the numerical is of 3-4 marks. Done? Done. These steps you should be taking care of. I know you have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't write answers clearly, if your answers are not presentable enough, there is no point in writing those answers. Okay, now keep these in your mind. Even if I told you all this, they will be of no use if you forget about those in examinations. So keep revising these, keep these things in my mind, that yes, I have to point it out. I have to point the keywords, I have to write the answers in points. These are very important points that should be kept in your mind very clearly. Okay, done. That is it for this video. Keep in mind how you have to write the answer sheet, because writing answer sheet is as important as knowing the answers. Okay, done.